Sat Naams, yogis, yoginis, let us explore today the relationship between the 60 degrees angle in yoga, and particularly in Kundalini Yoga, and Amrit Vela. So let's start by talking about what is Amrit Vela. We hear about this ambrosial hour, the ideal hour for meditation. It is said that if we meditate 2.5 hours before the rising of the sun, then, there is another section also in the afternoon when the sun is setting. This is what they call the Twilight zone, the Twilight. And the moment for meditation is ideal because there is something happening in our brain, something happening in our frequency that is going to be the optimal moment for meditation. And that's interesting. Why 2.5 hours? And why not 3 hours before? Why not 2 hours before? And this has a link, a hidden link actually, with the 60 degrees angle that we sometimes use in yoga. Now, we say, no, it's set, wake up every morning, 2.5 hours before sunrise, and start your practice, start your yoga practice. And it's interesting, in Kundalini Yoga, the first 3 exercises we are asked to do, even in bed before rising up, is this stretch pose for 3 minutes, then embracing the legs for 3 minutes, breath of fire, and then we go into ego eradicator, with the thumbs up. And ego eradicator, there's a very specific characteristic about this posture, which is that the arms should be straight, it should not be bent, and it should be a 60-degree angle in the position of the arms. Now, 60 degree, why 60 degree? And we say that there's a way of defining Kundalini Yoga as the science of angles and triangles. So, if we call it science, there has to be something scientific about it. And if we mention angles and triangles, then there has to be some specific angles that are important, and not more nor less. So let's find out a little bit more about this. What does that mean? Let us start a little bit about where do we find these 60 degrees angles in Kundalini Yoga, and then we will link this to the Amrit Vela, we will see. So 60 degrees, you can find it actually in any yoga, in some postures, like when we are lifting the legs, and with the position of the body. In Kundalini Yoga, we find it specifically in postures like this, in which the arms are stretched up, not just with the ego eradicator, but we can find it also in there's one position for the arms, which is like the natural prayer. There's like one of the oldest ways of praying, with the hands open like that, like becoming like a vessel, right? And open to receive. Now, this position for prayer has the arms 60 degrees as well. And then we will find other positions and many, many kriyas, meditations, where we are asked to place the arms 60 degrees up, or we are lifting the legs 60 degrees, or lifting one leg 60 degrees, so on and so forth. We find this in the body, with the body. We find this also with, in particular mudras, with the arms for the meditation. So we find it in kriyas, we find it in meditations, and also we find it in a quite a interesting point. Let me do a little drawing here. We find it also when we are with the drishti. Drishti is the point of focus. So let's say this is our face, our yogini meditating, and here is our eye, more or less. It has quite a bit of forehead, this face. It probably be a little bit more farther forward, but anyway. So as we are looking up and as we are looking down, in this angle of 60 degrees, it's a bit higher and a bit lower. This should be 60 degrees. I'm actually drawing, this is more like a little bit more than 45. it should be a bit higher, but the eye should be this eye should be a little bit more forward. So it will be more or less 60 degrees. What is this? What I'm saying is that when we are looking up towards the third eye point and when we are looking down towards the tip of the nose, these two classical drishtis, the eye is actually looking up 60 degrees and looking down 60 degrees. And, well, more or less, yeah, and every nose will be different, so the position of the eye for every person will be different, so this angle will be a little bit different for every person. There's variations always, yeah, but we are looking more or less, yeah? So that's interesting, that when we are looking upwards 60 degrees, there is something happening in us. Yeah, this is a very classical drishti, very classical way of focusing the eyes to meditate, looking down towards the tip of the nose. I think it's called ekagra, I think, in classical yoga. So focusing on the tip of the nose, that is also creates this meditative state. And it has different properties, yeah? Focusing on the third eye or the tip of the nose, we could go into the drishtis more in detail, but that's not the point of this video. We could talk about the pineal and the pituitary and how they are affected by different focus. But anyway, let's go back. This is 60 degrees, yeah? This is the way that 60 degrees appears. And, well, why 60? Well, there has to be something happening at 60 that makes it important, right? So let's just do a little test. Hopefully you can do it with me. Just raise your arms up to the 90 degrees up, so completely vertical. And you can close your eyes to feel a little bit better the sensations in your body. Notice how you are feeling. Keep the arms straight. And then notice what's happening within you when you are starting to lower the arms. And there is like a gradual movement slowly down, and there will be points when you will feel like cluck, cluck, like a click. It's like a click, like you will feel your body is entering into some sort of notch. Yeah, like the arms are going into a notch, into some position that is clearly different than the others. And you will notice that at one point, and then you will keep going, and slowly you will come to another click. Click. Yeah, there's another click. I feel it at 60 and I feel it at 30. And then if I keep going down, I keep the arms going down and they are naturally down, 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 down. And there is another click and I feel it at 0, yeah? So horizontal. So if you experience this, explore, and you are sensitive enough with your body, you are used to exploring the sensation of your body, you will notice that when the arms are 90 degrees up, there is a particular click. When they come to 60 degrees, there is a click. When they come to 30 degrees, there is a certain click. And the horizontal, there is a click. And there is all sorts of mudras for meditations with all these angles. And so something is happening in those points. Something is clearly happening. If you feel different angles or you feel something is different, you can write down in the comments and then maybe we can talk about it. And also notice the arms are to the side. They are not in front of you, yeah? Because that would be a different thing, a separate thing. And we could also explore that. I'm always in favor of not just believing the teachings, but actually exploring the teachings. The teachings were made to experience something in you, in yourself, in your body. And by experiencing something in your body, you're experiencing yourself. And at the end, the whole path of yoga is to experience yourself and to have self-experience and then self-knowledge, to know who you are, and then self-realization, right? This is like where we are going. And we do that through little things, like exploring the position with my body. That's going to help me, because body, mind, spirit are connected. So the position in the body is going to affect the mind, it's going to affect the spirit, or my connection to the spirit in some particular way. So there is something here with the arms. And I believe there is something to do with the electromagnetic field. I think that it feels, this click, it feels very much like when you are aligning something in a field, in a certain field. Like when I say electromagnetic field, I imagine like a magnet, yes? And we call it electromagnetic because if you make electricity pass through a wire, it creates a magnetic field. That's why it's called electromagnetic, yeah? And we have our own wires, we have our nervous system, and we have our own electricity. The whole body is filled with electricity. There is electricity in all the neurons through the nervous system communicating through the whole body. So, of course, this is going to create a magnetic field. Actually, this is very, very well studied. And this is not yogic, it's a scientific concept. We are now calling it electromagnetic field, but this is, yogis called it in different ways, yeah? And now we are using a scientific, Western, modern language to express something that the yogis were experiencing in themselves since time immemorial. They were just saying it with different words. And when we talk about aura, it's the electromagnetic field, the aura around us, right? But now with science, we know that for example, every organ has its own magnetic field. And I believe the heart is, if not the strongest, one of the strongest magnetic fields in the body. So this is my heart. It has a magnetic field. And magnetic fields have, imagine that these two pens were charged with magnetism, yeah? And they have a polarity. And as they get close to each other, they may feel attraction or they may feel repulsion. And then there may be a point where they are most attracted or most repulsed. Yeah, so maybe if I get at exactly this angle, they are going to want to get together. But if I go at this angle, there's a certain repulsion. So always we need to find this perfect angle. Now, this is opening up a whole new topic, which is polarity and relationships and yin and yang and how to approach your partner in the right angle to find this attraction, not to find the opposite, the rejection kind of polarity. So it's a lot about tweaking and finding the right angle to approach someone, not just your partner, but anyone. Everybody has their own electromagnetic field, let's say, and we need to find which is my alignment, right? So I have my own magnetic field, and then I am within so very many magnetic fields because the computer or whatever device you are watching this with, your screen has a magnetic field, and that's affecting you. And the Wi-Fi in our wherever we are, that has a magnetic field, is creating magnetic waves that are affecting our magnetic field. And any electrical thing that has electricity has a magnetic field. And then there's wider, bigger magnetic fields like the Earth. And that's affecting us. And the sun, yeah? The sun has an incredible effect on us. This is connected to the Amrit Vela. We're going to see now how this is going to connect to the Amrit Vela. Because the position in the sun of the sun in the sky is going to have a different effect on the magnetic field on the air of the Earth, and that's affecting us. It's also about whether we are awake or not. That's another important thing. The sun is in the sky, there is light, we are awake, the brain perceives that it's daylight, therefore activates us so we are awake. But it's also more than that. It's about something about the angle, something about this electromagnetic field affected by this angle. So I believe that when the arms are 60 degrees, there's something about that angle that is creating the right effect in us for those meditations or kriyas that we require to have the arms 60 degrees. So let's go to that point then. What is this angle of particularly the sun? Because we are talking about the sun. The sun is the biggest source of light. And, this is a path to enlightenment. So we're talking about light, and the sun has a great importance. For, many, many thousands of years, the sun was like worshipped, like God, like sun was God. And the sun is like the closest thing to God because the sun was life. Without sun, there was no life on earth. So the sun is very important. Now, Amrit Vela. Let's go to that point. And it's very interesting, this concept as well. Amrit, the name Amrit Vela. Amrit is like a substance, like a blissful substance that it has a very special effect on us. We'll do another video on the Amrit, and we will explore it in detail and how it's connected to yoga and Kundalini Yoga. And we will do another video on that. Let's go back to the Amrit Vela. So Amrit Vela is approximately 2 hours and a half before sunrise. Now, why is that? Let us be scientific a little bit now, okay? So let's do another drawing. The sun is going to be the sun is going to be hitting the earth, the angle of the rays of the sun. If this is the earth and this is the sun, the sun rays are going to be hitting the earth at a particular angle. If the sun is here, it's going to hit the surface of the earth at a different angle. And so different points along the surface of the earth are going to have different angles of the rays of the light, and also the sun is going to be appearing to move slower or faster. This is very easy to know, because if we go farther north from the equator, so closer to the Arctic pole, we will see that depending on summer or winter, we have very few hours of light time, or many hours. We can be like 24 hours of light. So that means that the sun is moving very, very low in the sky, going up and then going down. So the movement in the sky, the angle that these sun rays are reaching us is very, very small. Yeah. While if you're in the equator, you're going to see a much wider angle, because the sun is really going up into the sky, really coming down and below the earth. So that angle of the rays of light coming into earth is going to be very different. So, let's be scientific, but at the same time, we cannot be exact, because the planet Earth will have different movement of the sun in relation to the Earth, depending on where you are. But let us do this drawing. So in average, if we look in average, in general, we will have that every 30 minutes, there is a 6-degree angle. Yeah? Every 30 minutes is a 6-degree angle. And this will happen around if this is the equator. So this will be around 2 bands. The average will be around here and around here. There will be an average for the north and for the south hemispheres. And in around this area, these red bands, it's a band, it's not one line, but it's a band. Around these areas, we are going to have this proportion, more or less. Now, 30 minutes is 6 degrees. That means that 2 hours and a half, which is the what we call the Amrit Vela, that is 5 times 30. Therefore, that is 5 times 6. That's going to be 30 degrees. Yeah. Should we draw this in the... Let's make a basic scheme of... basic diagram of the planet, yeah? Let's imagine like that. It's not perfectly circular, but it will do. And the planet is not circular. The planet is not, but it's probably more like that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You will get the idea. And here we have a little yogi. With its turban. And is meditating, yeah? This is totally to scale, yeah, perfect scale. It's a huge yogi. All right. And if we are sitting in this very point of the planet, now when we see the sunrise, it's when the rays of the sun, this would be the sun here. Let's make it a little bit beautiful. Why not? Yes. The yellow will not be very clear, but it's okay. It's here. This is our sun. So when the sunrise appear over the horizon, I'm here, I'm looking, yeah? Imagine this surface is going to be very, very flat. I mean, it looks flat. When we are on the surface of the planet, it looks like this. But if we expand this with a zoom out, the surface is not flat, yeah, it's turning like this. So anyway, when you see the sun on the horizon, that will be this is what we call sunrise. And this is going to be 0 degrees from my vertical, yeah? All right. So following this, what we've heard about this, before sunrise, the sun is below the horizon. So if this is my vertical, we're going to find that here would be the sun. I'm not going to fill it out with orange, just to say that this is during nighttime, yeah? This is in the night. Because it's below the horizon and we cannot see it. We cannot see the sun, it's below the horizon. But this would be 2 hours and a half before. And this would be, let's write it here, 2 hours, 30 minutes before sunrise. And we call all this region is what we call Amrit Vela. Yes? So it's 2 hours and a half, and that is 30 degrees down. Now, 30 degrees down, I can write it here. This angle would be 30 degrees. That means that this angle is 60 degrees. So, when the sun is at 60 degrees from us, from the perspective of the sun, yeah, from our perspective would be 30 degrees down, but from the perspective of the sun, that's 60 degrees, because we know this is 90 degrees always, yeah? The angle of this kind of triangle, this is 90 degrees, this kind of angle, straight angle, right angle, I think it's called. So 30 degrees from us, or from the perspective of the sun, it would be 60 degrees. At this point, this is when we begin the Amrit Vela. And then you can find other points in between, yeah? This is at minus 18 degrees. This is what is called astronomical. Astronomical twilight, it's called. Then let's find a different color. Pink. At minus 12, This is what is called nautical. 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 Not naughty, nautical, nautical. I don't know. My pronunciation is a little bit not perfect. Somebody will write in the comments, naughty twilight. Okay. And then at 6 degrees, minus 6 degrees, this is what is called the civil, like civilian twilight. Yeah, so these are the twilights. And from the perspective of Kundalini Yoga, and when we are doing the Aquarian Sadhana, 2 hours and a half, hopefully a little bit earlier, we do the 60 degrees up, the ego eradicator, we start cold shower, and then start our sadhana with the japji and the kriya. And as we are coming into the nautical twilight, this is when we start chanting, because this is 1 hour before sunrise. Yeah, this is when we start chanting the mantras. And when we switch to civil twilight, that's when we enter the Waheguru Jio mantra, which is very interesting. That every mantra is, the first one is also 7 minutes. And then the Waheguru Jio, we do it for 22 minutes. And it's interesting. It's so long, 22 minutes, right? In comparison with the others, it's unusual. Well, that's when we enter the civil twilight. Could it have something to do? Why is it called civil twilight, nautical, astronomical? You're going to have to look that in Google and have a little bit of fun exploring this concept as well. But it's interesting. There is other concepts that are related to this, to the sunrise and the moment before and the moments after the sunrise. We'll find also something connected to this in photography. There is 2 important moments, is what they call the magic hours, yeah? When the sunlight, it's at such an angle that everything in the picture looks magical. And that is from minus 6 degrees to minus 4 degrees. Before sunrise, minus 4 degrees. So it's the civil twilight, the beginning of the civil twilight. That's when we are doing the Waheguru Jio. In photography, while we are chanting, they are out taking pictures. And they call this the blue hour. Blue hour. Isn't that interesting? Blue hour. Interesting, because Waheguru Jio, this is, as we are chanting the mantras we are chanting the mantras from the sadhana, and we are racing in consciousness and racing through our spine and through our chakras. Waheguru Jio is very much linked to the 6th chakra, and we're going to go towards the 7th chakra with the Guru Ramdas. So are we as we are in the 6th chakra for these 22 minutes, and we are connecting with this civil twilight, with this twilight. And twilight means there is not light, there is no darkness. We are in between, in this moment in between, is when magical things can happen. Because we are not in the dark, we're not in the light. And we know we can go back to this concept of polarity and yin and yang, and our whole experience in this world is a polarized experience of yin and yang and light and darkness. But the reality is beyond this polarity. Reality, it includes both, and it transcends both. Yeah, there is only one, Ekonkar, and that one is beyond polarity. But God manifested had to come down and create creation. In order to do that, had to separate into 2, Shiva, Shakti, Purusha, Prakriti, and the whole cosmic manifestation begins. Now we can go into that in some other video. However, there is only one. There is one source. There is one path. And we also hear Buddha, right, saying walk the middle path. Yeah, don't walk on one side or the other. Find the middle path. Now, if we're talking about one side or the other, is always like finding the balance. This is like, don't eat too much, don't eat too little. Eat the right amount for you. Yeah, don't sleep too much, don't eat too little. Sleep the right amount to you. Always finding the right perfect balance. Now, in the day, between light and darkness, there is this balance point. That's the twilight. So that's very interesting. That's the moment when we are asked to meditate. And that's called magical hour for photography. And they call it the blue light, blue hour. Now, as we are coming up, we are trying to access, we are opening up, calling for the gurus to come, to bring light into our darkness, to dispel our ignorance. And if we are graced with this light, this is like accessing the blue ethers. We call it the blue ethers, yeah? Again, maybe we can go on this some other video. But many videos opening up, yeah? But if you're interested, write in the comments. I would like to know about this. Just write it down in the comments. It helps for me to know what you're interested about. Now, interesting that as we are accessing these higher realms, these blue ethers through the meditation, we are coming into this moment when they call it the blue hour. And not only blue hours, in photography there is another moment, another interesting moment, which is what they call from -4 degrees to 6 degrees. And they call it the golden hour. Yes. So golden hour, there is going to be a very special light for whatever pictures you take. How interesting, yeah? If you have access to the blue ethers, yeah, something golden is happening. This is about alchemy, yeah, some alchemy of the soul, we could say. I'm just getting a little bit philosophical here, but yeah, this is the explanation on how the sun is hitting at 60 degrees from us during the beginning of this twilight point, yeah, this Amrit Vela region, when the Amrit is going to start flowing, yeah, this Amrit, this substance that we're going to talk about it in another video. So, let's remember that these numbers are approximate, and these numbers are relative to where you are living on the planet. So if you're living around one of these bands, this will be quite aligned with you, and 2 hours and a half before sunrise, you will be at around 60 degrees. But if you are closer to the equator or closer to the Arctic, that's going to be very different. But, we have to be practical, yeah? And we have families, we have life, we have a job. We cannot be doing exactly when the sun is hitting at 60 degrees, we're going to be doing sadhana. It's impractical, because then imagine that you live near the Arctic, yeah? Let's say Norway, yeah? You live in Norway or these Nordic countries, yeah? Or Canada or something like that. We're very high in the equator, yeah? Or very low in the equator as well. Now, if you live there and you're going to wait for the 60 degrees, imagine that is like you're in the winter and you have darkness for months, yeah? Above the Arctic line. So, okay, you're going to spend 24 hours meditating, waiting for the sun to ever, enter above the zero line. So it's impractical. We have to set up a certain time. That's why we say 2 hours and a half. There is a quote, yeah, by Yogi Bhajan. He says, when the sun hits the earth at 60 degrees, that's the ambrosial hour. That's the Amrit Vela. So he was referring exactly to this diagram that we were just seeing. Yeah, when the sun hits the earth at 60 degrees, that is Amrit Vela. That is the ambrosial hour. So, conclusion. To summarize a little bit, the sun is hitting at 60 degrees, and that has an effect, an electromagnetic effect on us. And I believe that when we are raising our arms 60 degrees, we are aligning with that angle. And even if the sun is not at that angle, the sun is already up, yeah? But I'm putting myself in that way. I'm creating this magnetic field with my arms, and I'm setting up this effect on us. What do you think? Do you feel something different? Do you experience it in a different way? Do you have another understanding or another interpretation of these 60 degrees? And how do you explore that? And let's explore this with a little meditation as well. Let's do this. Just take all these ideas and explore it in our body in some way. There is one meditation called Receptive Prayer Meditation, which is very interesting because it utilizes these 30 degrees and these 60 degrees with the arms. And we do it chanting the Sat Naam. So let me first explain the mudra and then how we chant it. But the mudra is with the arms from the horizontal raised 30 degrees. So there will be from the horizontal, the hands are like in a cup, and you raise them 30 degrees. So 30 degrees up, but then you open the forearms so that they form 60 degrees between them. Not 90 degrees, yeah, it's 60 degrees. I'll show you. So it's like 30 degrees up, 60 open, and it's very relaxed, yeah? This, like that. I hope you could hear me from the distance from the microphone, but it was like 30 degrees up, 60 degrees open to the side, and it's a very relaxed posture with the hands as a cup, like you were gonna receive drops of water as if it was gonna rain, like this. So you're gonna be like this with the eyes closed, and the mantra is Sat Naam, but it's chanted in a long form. And the long form means that the Sat is very, very, very long. It's actually 35 times the time of Naam. And Naam is very short and sweet. Like we sometimes say that Sat is like in Spanish, sí, Sat, sí, yeah, it means yes. You know, Satanama means infinity and life, yeah, Sat. Nama is na is no is the biggest no in life is death, and ma is like the mother energy which gives you another birth, so rebirth. Yeah, sa infinity because it's an infinite sound. Ta is life and birth, and na is no, that's death, and ma is rebirth. So Satanama are the four sounds, well, five if we include the vowel. Yeah, it's called punch, yeah, 5 sounds which link to the cycle of birth and rebirth, yeah? And we contract Satanama into Satanam, which is our true identity, and that is therefore Sat is about life and Nam is about death. So this is the polarity we were talking about again. But in this case, what we chant is a very long Sat, like a very long life, and Nam being death. We want to have a very short and sweet death. So Sat is very long, Nam is very short. Don't chant Sat Nam because we don't want a long death. We want a short and sweet. So Sat, I remember, is 35 times. Now, how I do this? Do I count Sat? No, I'm not counting like that. But 35 is very conveniently 7 times 5. So what I do is we have 7 chakras, we have 5 elements. So I go through the 5 elements in every chakra. As I'm chanting, I'm focusing on the first chakra, earth, water, fire, air, ether. Second chakra, earth, water, fire, air, ether. Third chakra, earth, water, fire, earth, ether. And I am experiencing the 5 tattvas through every one of the chakras. When we get to the crown, yeah, earth, water, fire, earth, ether, and then Sat, all this way I'm chanting Sat. When it reaches the top, Nam, and Nam is like a little shower, yeah, Nam of energy. So we're gonna do it just a few minutes, 3 minutes, but put yourself in the position. And remember, 30 degrees up, 60 degrees to the side. I will get close to the microphone, and in that position, close your eyes and inhale deep. Exhale deep. Inhale to chant. Nam. 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 Inhale deep. Listen to the echo. Feel your hands receiving. And bring your hands on the chest, left hand on top of the heart, right one on top of the left, and exhale. And you can open your eyes and relax the breath. That was called receptive prayer meditation. Yeah, receptive because you're receiving the state of prayer. It's a meditation. Hopefully it was an interesting experience. Hopefully you could tune in to this concept of the 30 and 60 degrees while you had the arms like this. How did it feel? You can write in the comments how you felt about that. And the experience of elongating the Sat and the Nam. I'm doing quite a long one. If you cannot do such a long one, you can do it shorter. You're doing at your own rhythm. You can do 3 to 11 minutes to explore the chanting of the Sat Nam in this form, Sat long and Nam short. We do the Sat long and Nam short at the end of every session. So I don't know if you need to do 35 to 1 in every time you do the long time, after they made the long time sunshine, doing that. And but definitely Sat is long, Nam is short. Hopefully you enjoyed this session and you got something out of that. If you have any comments, questions, or you just want to share something about your experience, you can write in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video and you would like more, Please like and subscribe, and it's definitely useful for the channel, and I deeply appreciate it. Thank you for your time, for watching, and for being with us. Sat Naam.